I want to welcome everybody to this very special conversation with Brian. Tonight's guest, Doug King, an amazing basketball player in high school and college on Maryland's Eastern Shore, and an amazing high school basketball coach who serves along the side of William Butch Waller, the all-time winningest coach in the history of Maryland boys basketball. Doug was an outstanding basketball player at Y High in high school. He was the 1997 Eastern Shore Bayside Player of the Year. As well, he scored over 1,000 points at Salisbury University during his collegiate career. And so without further ado, I'd like to welcome to a conversation with Brian, Y High's JV and assistant varsity basketball coach, Doug King. Doug, finally got you on. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
At the beginning of each one of my shows, I ask my guests to talk to my audience a little bit and share a little bit of your personal story, your professional journey, as much as you like. And so, who is Doug King?
I'm a kid that grew up in Dovedale, on the east side of Salisbury. We would go to the parks and play basketball every morning from sun up to sundown. Fell in love with the game of basketball at a young age. Transferred from playing at the park to playing at the Salvation Army. From the Salvation Army, I fell more in love with it. Ended up going to high school, and it was like the best part of my life playing basketball in high school. Like I'm 45 now. I wish I could go back to high school. It was like the best part of my life playing basketball for Coach Waller, all my teammates. It was a great time. And once I left high school, I continued on my journey into college, and I played basketball at Salisbury University. Backtrack a little bit. I went to CISA before, going to school. I was just going to school to play basketball. I wasn't really focusing on grades, so I had to take the JUCO route. Went to CISA Community College for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Transferred back to Salisbury University. Had a wonderful career there. And once I graduated there, that brought me back to my alma mater to coach basketball back at Y High with the great Butch Waller. So basketball has done so much for me. Like basketball has got me my wife, my two beautiful kids. Basketball has done a lot for me. Like it was my ticket out of, from where I grew up.
Yeah.
Some tough times in my neighborhood, but clinging on to basketball got me who I am today. So I love the game. I appreciate the game. I'm thankful for the game. And that's kind of my story to go on to get this started.
I always talk to people about, when I played basketball, and I felt like I used basketball as a vehicle to get me to different places, right? And instead of having basketball use me, a lot of times people have basketball and they just focus so much on basketball is that they don't think about other things outside of life. And so when basketball is gone, they're like, oh, what do I do? But it seems like you have used basketball and you're giving back, and you're coaching, JV and varsity. But let's go back a little bit. I mean, you kind of talked about your story, but let's go back a little bit to when you were at high school, and you said that was like your best time in terms of your life, and you like to go back there. You were a fantastic basketball player. You were in 1997. You were Bayside Conference Player of the Year. Talk a little bit about your journey in high school from ninth grade to your senior year. But talk about, and I don't think people understand, being Bayside Player of the Year is huge. That's a lot of schools and a lot of competition, and being the top player in the Bayside is a big accomplishment.
So we start off my freshman year. My freshman year, I was kind of nervous that I wasn't going to make the team. Didn't know if I was going to get picked. I had that nervous energy, but my JV coach, which is now our AD, Sty Stearman,
Mm-hmm.
he was teaching at Middle, and funny story. My brother was still at Middle, and I was at high school. So every night I would go back. I would go home, and I was like, "Ask Coach Sturman, am I gonna make the team?" I was like, "Ask Coach, Coach Sturman, am I gonna make the team?" So that happened for a couple of days. When the list finally came out, I made the team, and it was fun, man. JV was fun. Uh, we were young. Um, that year we was like all freshmen. My group came in. We was young and we all came in together. We
Right,
all would starting on JV, and then that next year we were all on varsity. So we got through in the fire.
right.
Uh, Waller came up with a name for us my sophomore year, called us the Kitty Corps. We struggled a little bit, but it was a learning experience.
Sure.
My junior year, we won the Bayside South. We was I mean, I played with some good players: Al Hankerson, Dante Palmer, Damian Johnson,
Right.
which was the all time leading scorer at Wahad, till his record just got broke by Antoine Wilson. But our junior year, we won the Bayside South, and we ran into a buzzsaw against Cambridge South Dorchester, which they probably had two pros on their team. Haney Camper was one of them. Haney was tough. He was probably LeBron James for LeBron James. Uh, and they smacked us around a little bit at the Civic Center in front of a nice crowd. So we all took that with us that summer. We came back that following year, which was our senior year. We ended up 23-3. I had a great year. I think I averaged 17 and 13 assists. Mind you, I was playing with one of the better players in the league, and Damon Johnson. So, me and him had that connection. He knew where I would be. I knew where he would be. Same thing with my shooting guard, Al Hankerson, and my off guard, Dante Palmer. We just had a connection from going
Yeah.
in our freshman year. When our senior year, it was just so much fun, man. We ended up winning the Bayside South again. This time we ran in the Eastern. We won the Bayside Championship. And we went on to the regional final at Baltimore City and ran into. I didn't play one of my better games. I think about this all the time, but we ended up losing by 2. We ended up going for down 2 with 10 seconds, going for the win. And I never forget this. And Waller talk about this all the time. And I kind of blame myself on this. It was a timeout. It's
Right.
10 seconds left. 10 seconds left. We down 2. We got the ball underneath, and we go to the huddle. And Coach Waller's like, "We didn't come here to tie. We came here for the win."
Right.
So, when he said it, it felt like, okay, win the game, and we're gonna hit this 3, and we're gonna win.
Right.
So me being the captain, when we came out of the huddle, uh, I'll never forget it. Dante Palmer was like, "I don't want to shoot the shot." Me being a leader, I should have called timeout again, or I should have did something, because I knew he didn't want to shoot the shot.
Right.
Um, no, that was Al. Al didn't want to shoot the shot, and Dante looked at me and was like, "I'll shoot it." He wanted to shoot it.
Right.
So should have said something, because I knew Al didn't want to shoot that shot, but we ran the play anyway. And it's one of my regrets I take. I mean, I think about it some. I don't think about it a lot, but it's one things that I do think about, because I should have did something when I know he wasn't ready for that shot at that time.
You know,
So, yeah,
so what so what happened?
he shoots it. It's a good look. He misses. We end up losing. Um, and that was my senior year. And I take that to my grave. And I should have did more. I should have called timeout again and told Waller he did not want to take the shot. I should have let Dante shoot it. Or once I got the ball, because I had to get the ball to pass it back to him,
Right.
I should have played off of that, knowing he didn't want it, and made my own play, try to find Damon, or let myself shoot it, or me shoot it. But I didn't. I ran the play. I did what the coach told us to do, and we lost. But I take a little bit of responsibility for that at that time, and me being a senior and the captain.
Right.
Once I knew he didn't want to shoot that shot, I should have did something else.
It's funny, Doug, what we hold on to from way back in high school, and this
Yeah,
it's been 40 years for me. In 1983, we lost the state championship in the finals in double overtime.
yeah. He talks about that a lot.
And I always, take that. I always think, the game before in the semifinals, I had like 28 points. But the final, I only had 19 points, and I didn't play a good game. And I always say that
Yeah.
was my fault. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the mark of somebody who's just you constantly are thinking about, okay, I'm going to take responsibility. How can I get better and better and better? And I think for you, although that was a loss, a tough loss, you took it and you made something out of it. And so
Yeah.
you go the next year, you go to Cecil Community College, and then you go to Salisbury State, and you have a wonderful career. You score over 1,000 points. Talk a little bit about your career at Salisbury and some of the experiences that you had.
Yeah. So I'm start a little bit with Cecil. Cecil was where I went and I learned kind of the game of basketball.
Hmm.
The like getting up early, working out,
Sure.
getting in the weight room, getting shots up. I used like in high school, I had a push shot from my hip. When I got to college, I had to change all that because I'm
Yeah.
playing against better players.
Right.
So Cecil taught me a lot. It got me ready for my journey at Salisbury. So when I left Cecil, I had to go to Warwick. So I had to set out a year to get my credits right.
Right.
So that year I set out, I went to every practice Salisbury had 6 o'clock in the morning. Even though I wasn't practicing, I was still at Warwick.
Yeah.
So I was determined, and I would go to their practice. I would help them out up there. I would run the clock. I would do stuff. Uh,
And was Ward still a coach then? He was the
yeah,
coach.
Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Ward was there. Alan Miller was there that year. The year I came in, I was at Ward. He left the following year, the year I could play, he had left and went back to Snow Hill.
Okay.
But yeah, I was there every day with practices. Then after their season was over, matter of fact, I did the book for them that year. So when they went to the playoffs, the CAC championship or semifinals,
Hmm.
I did the book at Catholic. They ended up losing, but I got that taste and I saw how college basketball was. The next year I came in, I played. It was Ward's last year. And I started slow because that year off, it sets you back a little bit.
Sure.
But once I got going about mid-season, I was rolling January. We had a tournament in Elizabethtown. I got all first team. Victor Jackson, RIP to him. He was a great Y player.
Right.
I played with him my first 2 years at SU. So my first year, he guided me along. So we was in that tournament in Elizabeth City. He got MVP, and I got first team all
Wow.
Elizabeth City tournament. So the Y High grads was doing big things that year.
Yeah.
Uh, we ended up being second in the conference.
Was
CAC
was Catholic first because they were usually pretty
Yes,
good. And I
Catholic
know.
was Catholic was first. Um, they was pretty good. We ended up beating them at Catholic. They beat us at Salisbury.
Okay.
So it's a funny story. So the CAC tournament, we win our first round game. Our second round game, we playing against Marymount. It's another, game I never forget. Uh, it was my career high scoring so far in my career. This game, playoff game against
Right.
Marymount.
Was Chuck Drizel there at the time?
Chuck was there. They're up 20 on us at half. Semifinal CAC tournament. Never forget it. We come all the way back, tie the game. We have the ball underneath with 6 seconds. I'm taking the ball out. The play was to get it to Victor. So we get it to Vic. He catches it on the left elbow of the free throw line.
Right.
I step in bounds. I catch the ball, but I don't know he's throwing it back to me. So like it's a play that's
Right.
being ran, and he was like, "You open." Like he was like, "You open." So when I get back in, I don't know the ball's coming, so I get it. It's like 2 seconds. I try to do something. I throw it up. Our senior, Holland Exaby, catches the ball, shoots it, gets fouled. No time on the clock.
Wow.
Shooting two. Goes to the line. He misses the first. He shoots 86% from the free throw line. It's no way he's missing the second. No way.
And
He He misses the second.
Wow.
We
And
go into
that's,
overtime.
you
Go
just
ahead.
never know what happens when, when pressure is on you, and sometimes it just happens, right?
Yeah. So we go into overtime. We end up losing, and that was like a tough loss.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, for him being a senior, it was tough for him. It was tough for me. So the funny thing about the Catholic situation, they was playing Goucher, who was like a 6 seed. Goucher had upset Catholic, so they would have been coming to Salisbury for the
Right.
championship.
Wow.
So it was like we found out like in the locker room, it was bad.
That's devastating. When you
Yo,
like if it played out the right way, you had a home game.
we had a home game,
Yeah.
the game to go to the championship.
Yeah. Well,
So the next year, my junior year, me and Vic, we get to the semifinals again. It's not a whole blown out thing. We can't get by Marymount and Chuck Giselle. They beat us again. Uh, Vic ended up not coming back for my senior year. I was kind of out there alone.
wow.
Uh, I ended up scoring my 1,000, but we weren't that good. We weren't very good. Uh, and it kind of became a job.
Yeah.
I tell the kids all the time, once basketball becomes a job where you don't want to get up and go,
Yeah.
it's over.
It's hard
So
because
it's
I mean
hard.
you got to put in the work, and if you don't want to put in the work, and like you said, it becomes like a job, then when it becomes less fun, then it becomes like, oh, do I want to do this? And it's just
Yeah.
hard to be focused.
Yes, I don't know if that was because we had a rough year, but it was just, I had my daughter. Me and my wife, with my wife now, but with my girlfriend then, was living together. So it became a lot. So like I didn't want to get up for workouts,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it kind of, it was over. And my mom, I had got a couple letters for like trials overseas for you in Utah, and like my mom and my aunts and my family paid all this money, and I ended up not going because like it was it wasn't fun no more. So
Yeah.
my parents and all my family got upset about that, but that's when I knew like that I wasn't going to the NBA. Basketball took me as far as it could, and I graduated, got into the school system. My first job was at Salisbury Middle, and it went from there.
And so, although it didn't end the way you wanted to as a player, you've taken it, and you've turned it around, and you've given so much to the game over the last 21 years as a coach. Talk a little bit about, when you were in high school and then college, did you ever think that you wanted to be a coach?
I didn't really think about coaching, because when you're in high school and college, it's all about playing and
Yeah.
and scoring and winning. So it never crossed my mind.
So when did that point in time, happen where you were like, maybe I could coach? Or did somebody say, Doug, you might want to think about this?
I want to say, you know, so after we graduated, it was a class coming into High. That class that won the state championship.
Right.
Bubby,
Yep.
Jermichael, that group was coming in.
Okay.
So when I was at Cecil and I ended up coming back, I helped coach them. No, when I came back, I helped Coach Waller and Byers, my brother, my brother's senior year.
Hmm.
I would come in and help Byers with JV. That year, Bubby, Jermichael, and Carl Miles and that crew was on JV.
Right.
So I helped. I wasn't there all the time, but I was there sometimes.
Right.
I was still in school, but I think it was that year when I came back when I was setting out when I was at Warwick and I was setting out and I was redshirting and I was going to SU, help them practice. It was just like I'm watching them practice. I'm back home helping Waller. So I was like, maybe when this is all said and done, I
Right.
might can come, I come back and help coach. But yeah, that's what it was. It was that 2002's team when they were eighth graders. Well, not eighth graders. When they was freshmen, I helped coach JV, and I got a little fire
Yeah.
doing that. So yeah, I would say that year when I left Cecil and came back, that was the year where maybe if this is once this all said and done,
Right.
I might want to be. coaching at my alma mater.
And so when did you start coaching? Like you started with JV. Did you start as a JV assistant or you started as head JV coach?
So once that team won the state championship in 2002, 2003. The JV coach was Dave Byers. He got the job at Parkside. So
Okay.
it was JV. The JV job was open. I had just got my first job in the school system at Salisbury Middle. They needed a coach. I applied. I ended up getting a job. It was rough my first year. Just going in blind, like you said. I
Sure.
wasn't an assistant.
Yeah.
I hadn't been coaching. I was coaching a little bit with Byers that 1 year, but I went in blind. Uh, it was fun, and that started the transition of me, becoming a JV coach. And I think my first year I was 15-5.
Hmm.
I had some. I coached my younger brother Isaiah King.
How was that?
Th-
How was
yeah,
coaching?
that was a little rough. That was a little rough. That was a little rough.
I
I
was
was
gonna
I was
say I'm trying to think about Paul trying to coach me like in high school or whatever, but that's interesting.
Yeah, that was a little rough. I expected more from him, and he was giving me all he could, and he wasn't like me and my other brother Jamal. He was a little. He was more of a football player, but he was taller than us.
Right.
So I was pushing him a little bit, but he made basketball fun for him. Like he did like the dirty work and
Right.
the defensive stuff, but it was a little tough coaching him in that freshman year. After that, he found a niche and he found things he could do in the game. Like he wanted to score, but he knew, okay, I can't score, but I can rebound and I
Sure.
can play defense.
And that's important because some players, when they don't find that niche but they try to force it, it becomes frustrating because that's not their role. And so if
Yeah.
you can find a role, you can be an important piece to a basketball team.
And that's what he was. Like, so that was my first year. He was a freshman. Next year, no, I think my first year he was a sophomore. So that's why I kind of expected more from him. But
Right.
we had a good year. I think I lost 5. I had a nice point guard, Josh Bright. Uh, it was fun. It was fun. And then, I don't mean to brag, but after that, I just started getting good players on JV. Like it was just like we was getting players, and like I want to say I started 2003 from about 2006 on, and I mean Coach Waller won a lot of games, but we got players.
Yeah.
Like we was getting
Well,
players.
it's important for you to and I think that's and the unsung hero for high school basketball programs a lot of times is the not the varsity, it's the JV because you're preparing those players to go up to varsity, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they have to be ready, and so you preparing those players with skills and all the things that they need to be able to play varsity and to be successful. And to be honest, Doug, sometimes for you, it might be a little bit more pressure because you're sending kids up to, and again, you're the assistant varsity coach, but you're sending kids up to varsity to a program that is nationally known. I mean, the
yeah,
coach won more games than any public high school coach in the history of Maryland. And
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's a lot of pressure.
yeah, yeah. So like, and for 2 years, for 2 whole years, I didn't lose a game. Like JV wise, I went undefeated back to back years. I want to say maybe 2010 and 11 or 11 and 12. I forget, but it was 2 years where I didn't lose a game. Like
That's
games weren't close.
yeah.
Uh, and like I said, we was just getting good kids. We was getting good basketball kids.
But you got to
Um,
you got to have them play together. You could have 5 players or 4 or 5
yeah,
players who are great talents, but if they can't play together, that's the mark of the coach. I mean, you
yeah,
got to be able to put them together and have them know their roles.
yeah. So it's a funny story. So my arguably my best JV team was 2004, maybe 2004 or 5.
Hmm.
It was another good class, kind of like the 2002 state championship class. Um, we go 17-0. Last game of the season, we playing at home against Parkside. They're like, Coach King, can we come out the varsity room? Because it was like a JV girl
Right.
boy doubleheader.
Right.
So varsity was, had practice. So he's like, can we come out with music and use the varsity room? I was like, all right, we 17-0. We had beat Bennett, which was our arch rival, and they
Yeah.
was pretty good. So I was like, all right, we playing Park. So I'm like, all right, we'll come out to music and we'll come out to varsity room.
Right.
Never forget, this is one of the moments where I think about this all the time. Uh, we we play Parkside and we are struggling. I mean, they're running. Mind you, Byers had went to Parkside, so
Right.
he's kind of running the same stuff we do.
Yeah.
They was beating us with our own plays. It was like we just kind of already figured we gonna win the game,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
because we had played Bennett the game before, and Bennett we only won by 2 the first time. So the second game was like a big game. You know, I say to this day, it's one of the best games I ever coached. We ended up winning by like 20.
Right.
We ended up beating them. So we was like, we undefeated. We kind of celebrated a little too early.
Yeah.
We had Parkside that last game, and we had already beat them pretty bad. And so that's why I kind of let them come out with the music and come out of the varsity room, and we lost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I never had like this was I mind you I'm young, but
Right.
that was my first real good team, and like I never forget it. Waller come in the locker room and like he's trying to talk to me, but I'm in there like crying real tears.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it was that hurt me a little bit, and
Well, and
so
I think you learn from for me, I learned much more from my losses than I did from my wins because losses hurt.
yeah
Especially that kind
that
of loss, Doug, when
yeah
you're 17-0 and you have a chance to go 18-0 and you lose and you think about you had a routine for 17 straight games, but then that last game for some reason you and the team
yeah
were like, oh, we got this. And you let
yeah
them go out to music and
yeah that hurt me. So but like you said, I learned from that,
yeah,
and so a couple years later, I don't think it was the next year. I think the next year we ended up 18-2, but then the next year we we was playing. It was 17-0 again, and my wife wanted to get me 18-0 shirts.
yeah.
So I was like, listen, don't bring the shirts in here. You can get them, but we was playing. We wasn't playing Parkside Bennett. We was playing St. Michael. So I kind of knew we was gonna win this game.
But
So
you didn't want to
I
jinx it
didn't.
like you did
Yeah,
before.
I didn't want to jinx it like I did before. And that started that. I mean, that year we went 18-0. The next year we went 18-0.
Wow.
Um, and that started like a trend of me just, we were just rolling on JV at a period of time. So
Hey,
it's been,
have you noticed any difference, since you were playing to now in the players, the quality of players, um, the motivation of players, that to want to get better. I know we have greater athletes today than we did when I played. At times, I feel like some of the skills aren't as good because like the mid-range game that we had when I played, there were, because the three-point line wasn't there, so many kids shoot the three that sometimes we neglect that like the mid-range game. But also, I just wonder from your perspective, have you noticed like a difference from the time you were in high school playing to now as a coach over these 20 some years, a difference in the players in terms of their skills, their motivations, their attitudes?
yeah, I would say, 'cause when we were playing, we was always at the park.
Right.
Like I stayed at Dovedale Park, like I said early on, from sun up to sundown. I played with the men when
Mm.
I could,
Right.
but when I couldn't, I was watching and
Yeah.
just hoping to get on. As I got older, I ended up getting on and playing with them. And I want to say this too. I think Steph Curry messed the game of basketball up. Not
Yeah.
messed it up, but he
Yeah.
changed the game.
Yeah.
Now everybody want to shoot threes.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's hard. Like everybody's not Steph Curry.
Yeah.
So and I saw something. I want to say LeBron said. I think he was like Allen Iverson and Steph Curry changed the game because kids see them two and they can do what they're doing. Like, Steph is 6 foot. I mean, he's
Right.
not tall, he's not
Right.
athletic. You know, Allen Iverson was what, 5'11" for real.
Yeah.
And you see his crossover. Like kids can actually see themselves being Steph Curry and
Yeah.
Allen Iverson, where they can't be like like this Kobe Bryant. He's what, 6'6" and can
Yeah.
jump out of the gym. That's a
Yeah.
little harder,
Yeah.
you know. And I think Steph. I mean, LeBron had a great point on that. So, like to me, Steph had. I mean, he changed the game. So now all the kids want to shoot the three ball, but kids don't work as hard as they used to. You
Do you think
know,
that do you think that's a result of, and again, it's not a knock on, it's just where we are. Do you think because of AAU and we play so much AAU basketball and there's so many games that we don't have time where kids don't, when I grew up, I would go to basketball camps or, or we'd be playing on the playground,
yeah,
working on our skills. Are kids able to work on their skills playing AAU, or is it just they're playing, so many games that they're not able to be coached and worked on,
yeah.
those fundamentals?
And I mean, AAU, AAU is different for real. I mean, to be honest, AAU is fun and it's like a glorified around here anyway. I don't know.
Yeah,
I only speak for the Eastern Shore.
right.
It's so many different AAU teams that it's kind of I don't. I mean, you playing against different players and you traveling and kids are
Yeah.
getting experience and
That's a
kids are
great experience. Yeah.
yeah and kids are going places that they probably might not never go
Yeah.
again. But to me, it needs to be more skill set camp. Like I went to Mason Dixon two
Yeah.
years in a row, and
Yeah.
then my junior year summer going into my senior year, I went to 5 Star. Um, quick story on that. I was there with Ron Artest, some great
Okay.
players, but the
Yeah.
the 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 most famous player there was Ron Artest. And,
Okay.
he didn't get there till Wednesday. Like he was so special. Like he came in Wednesday and they put him on the best team
Right.
in the at the camp. But I think it's more kids need to go to camp. A couple coaches now in the Bayside working on trying to, you know, work on these kids and their fundamentals.
Yeah.
So we try, we coming up with like something where kids can come to different places and work on their fundamentals and their skill set. Because you see a lot of one hand passes,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just little stuff, and like parents could save a lot of money from because it costs to go these AAU trips.
I
You
think
know,
I think you're right. I mean, I don't think it has to be an either or. I think there can be a balance. Like you said, the experiences that kids get by traveling and playing against different people, those are
yeah,
invaluable. But if
yeah,
you're not taking time to practice on those fundamental skills, then it's going to be hard for those kids to go to the next level.
yeah, yeah. And it's just basic stuff like I said, the one hand pass, like when you catch it, keeping your feet still so you're not traveling. It's just
Yeah.
working on a triple threat.
Right.
You know, just little stuff. Knowing your slides and your help side on defense. Just little basketball stuff that coaching AAU. It's kind of on the fly because
Yeah.
you getting a group of kids together that haven't played together. So you just trying to work on plays.
Yeah.
So and I don't knock the AAU around here. I understand they're trying to get these kids seen
Sure.
and get them into college, but like you're not going to a tournament where you're going to see the Duke coaches or the Georgetown coaches.
Right.
It's that stuff. What some of them do know is it's all driven by Nike and
Yeah.
Under Armour.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different levels to AAU.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd say it's like vacation. Kids try like a lot
Sure.
of kids
Yeah.
they go to Vegas to play, which is tremendous.
Great
Some
experience.
kids they'll never go to Vegas again, but they go and play tournaments, which is fun. And they basketball has gotten them there and the AAU, but it's levels to AAU.
Right.
I just think I just think it should be more focused on the skill set, you know, keeping your feet still, not traveling, no one hand passes,
Yeah.
knowing the rotations on the shell drill, you
So
know.
have you all like any of the coaches on the Eastern Shore, talked about this, like you and Bubby and Coach Waller or any other coaches talked about maybe just like during the summer or even in the spring, opening it up to having kids come in and you all can teach, some of these skills, no matter who the kids are.
Yeah, like I said, I give Coach Bubby a good credit for this. Like he's trying to get all the coaches together, you know, and kind of having not like a camp, but like a workout session with the
Sure.
coaches. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I mean,
And
y'all
just
are great coaches. I mean, I think the unknown kind of story for the Eastern Shore, it's so much basketball knowledge. Like in my
yeah,
intro, I talked about how much you know about basketball. Y'all have a wealth of knowledge as much as anybody around the country. And so
yeah,
if they can't take advantage of the excellence that you all are, that's just a crime.
yeah. So we were supposed to start last week, but I think we got something in the works with that. So yeah, it's just working on the skills, man. It's nothing wrong. Like I don't want to sound like I'm knocking AAU, but it's nothing
No.
wrong with AAU. It's just it's levels to it, and more kids need to work on their skill set. I think than traveling across the world or the country or on the East Coast. Just work on the little stuff.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know.
again, like I always say, it's like I don't think in, terms of either or. I think in terms of and. Yeah, play AAU, travel, do all the things.
Yeah,
And, use the excellence of those coaches on the Eastern Shore to improve your skills.
yeah. So yeah, but we trying to start that up. See how that goes. I think it's gonna go well. And yeah, just working on skill set, man. The Bayside, I mean, it's good basketball, but it's not great. Like it could be better. Like talent wise, we could be better. Like kids are still doing stuff that should be taught at a younger age.
Yeah.
So when they get into high school, it's kind of like we gotta, break some habits and
Sure.
do some different things. But that's the job of coaching. So, but
And
you know,
if you weren't they didn't need you, then you wouldn't need coaches. And so,
yeah,
the things that you all the challenge is, especially when they get to high school, is the time that you have for practice, and
yeah,
how can you fit things in. So having kids, give them those skills so they can practice on their own, but they need somebody like you all to work with them so they can see exactly just the little things that they might be doing wrong or that might need to be corrected so they can just practice and just repetition and repetition on the things that are going to make them move to that next level is really important.
yeah. And across the bridge, they got it a little better than what we do. Them kids are, they're starting at a younger age. So
Yeah.
when they get to the Mathis or the PBIs or
Yeah.
all those schools up there, they kind of already know how to play basketball.
Yeah.
Like,
And again, it's not the skill. I mean, like kids are kids, and like you said,
yeah,
if they start earlier and they get
yeah,
the right coaching, the Eastern Shore could be just as, I mean, prolific in terms of, basketball as quote the Western Shore. And
yeah,
even me saying that, there have been tons of people out of the Eastern Shore who have been playing and are good players, are great players, and have come out
yeah,
of the Eastern Shore.
yeah. So yeah, that's the thing is we just gotta teach them and coach them up and
Yeah.
get better at knowing how to play basketball. Then that's the thing. Like you can play basketball, but do you know how to play basketball? So
Yeah.
that's got to be our job, helping these kids out in the Bayside, and that's what we like I said, I give Coach Brown a good shout out. That's what we trying to do now, and we'll see what happens, man.
Okay. Doug, this has been great. I have one or two more questions, and we'll wrap up. But this has been really good. I think, and I'm glad you came on and have people really hear you talk about your experiences and the things that you've done with the game. I would like to kind of just pivot a little bit and talk about your experience as the assistant coach to Butch Waller and the success that you all have had. What have you learned from him? What has working, with, again, arguably, one of the best coaches, high school coaches in the country, what has that done in terms of, your outlook, your experiences, and I'm sure, again, he's learned from you as well. I don't want to make it one way, but being with him all these years, and having a sideline view, talk a little bit about your experience with Coach Waller.
Um, Coach Wall is great. He's great, man. Like he's a great coach. He puts his all in from November 15th till the last till the state final games are over, if he made it or not. Like
Right.
he's all basketball from that time on. As you know,
Yeah.
he's he has taught me how to be prepared.
Yeah.
And
Remember that.
you can ask like, yeah, any of his players, like, you got to be prepared. uh he, all his practice schedules, it goes down the line, which I learned and which I do. Like, Coach Warren, who was coaching the JV this year, he
Mhm.
had his practice schedule, like, and everything's timed and everything's precise and down to the minute.
Yeah.
So I learned from him, the most I learned is being prepared. Everything else, like, he's he wants to make sure, you know you look good. He keeps, we Waha gonna always keep up with the fashion.
Yeah.
Uh, I think having us around, me around, it keeps them in tune to the new generation.
Sure.
You
Sure.
know, like, I never forget, when Twitter first came out. You know, he didn't know about Twitter, so we got
Right.
him on Twitter. We was like, look, this is how you can get scores. You follow this person, you'll get
Yeah.
everything you need. He was, we got him on Twitter, so I think I keep him young.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he's a great coach. He keeps us prepared. He loves to go scout. That's another thing. Like, and that all comes with preparation.
Sure.
If we're gonna play a certain team and he's not doing nothing, or we got early practice and he can go to a game, he's always there.
Yeah.
It don't matter. Um, and like you said, kind of earlier, you hinted to this, and when I was saying we got players, and
Yeah.
like you said, once you get players, you got to know how to coach the good players.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, like, and I don't mean to like brag or nothing, but we won the Bayside 5 years in a row.
That's
Like,
that's that's something. That is
and,
saying that I don't think that's happened before.
and it never happened again.
That's amazing.
It won't never happen again. And it would have been six, but it was the COVID year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, 18, 19, 20, 21 was COVID. We came out for COVID. 22 we won.
Yeah.
23 we won. So,
That's
like,
that's impressive.
yeah. So, and we had good players, but we also had to coach them and have them all blend together.
Yeah. Of
And that's a good thing he does, as far as when he, get talent. And everybody is a better coach with talent than he is without talent.
course.
So, but, you know, and I don't like the 5 years of the Bayside, but you can go all the way back to the from 2005, or when I first started 2003. Like, not saying we have dominated the Bayside, but we've been at the top of the Bayside
That's a great
for a
run.
long time.
Yeah.
So, and like I tell people now, like, this year we didn't have a great year. I think we ended up 12-12, including the playoffs. But like, you look back and you just like, we didn't cherish that enough, because it was happening so much.
Yeah.
Like, we was winning so much.
You took
Like,
it
all
for
right,
granted.
yeah, we kind of took it for granted. And I think back, I was like, we should have did more. We should have enjoyed them wins, because it was just like, it was happening all the time.
Yeah.
We and coaching, and we was having fun. But then this year happened. I mean, we were still winning, but it was different a little bit. You know
Sure.
what I mean? It was a little different, but that's the part of culture, man. You got your ups and downs, but ours been up so much. It was, the downs. It was kind of shocking, not shocking, but it was a little different for me this year.
Yeah.
But you
But
know,
yeah, like as I said before, when you learn, I think, more from those struggles, those challenges, those losses, and it helps you prepare for, what's next. Okay, how do we prevent this from happening again? How do we prepare the kids for next year? So if we're in the same situation, they're ready for it. And so that's a challenge for you.
Yeah, and back to Water, he's already on, trying to figure out what's the plan for next year because it wasn't a bad year, but we want to have a better year. We want to get back to where we had been,
Yeah.
and that's the key. And he's already focused in and linked into all getting better with that and having a better year next year. But
Yeah.
I I want to just say, like, as a coach and the time winning we had, and I say this to all coaches, anybody listening, like, cherish the wins, cherish the moments where if you won a Bayside, any type of championship, if it's a Christmas championship, whatever, you need to enjoy them because everything don't last forever.
Happen. Yeah, it doesn't happen. And to be honest, there's only one winner, right? And
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
out of all the schools, there's only one winner. So like you said, it doesn't happen very often. And so you got to
yeah,
cherish that. You got to
yeah.
cherish it. Hey,
But yeah,
this has been great. At the end of each one of my shows, I use this old African proverb. I use at my dad's funeral. As I go, I am wearing you. And really, what it is all the people who have poured in and helped me along the way. I am wearing. So when you see Brian Butler on the screen or whatever, you're seeing a representation of all the people who have helped me, get to the point where I am today. And so, you know, now I'm wearing Doug King as a part of, my journey. But who have been the people who you are wearing? Who have been some of the pivotal people in your life who have helped you, along the way, become the person you are, the coach you are, the father you are, just the friend you are today?
um, from what I like to say, my mom and dad,
Hmm.
they was always at all my games. My dad was always critical of the way I played, which at times I didn't like, but he I always wanted to come home and see what he had to say.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I never forget, like, we played Albert Moore and the Colonel my junior year, and I didn't have a good game. We was up on them, we ended up losing. So, like, I already knew going home it was gonna be rough.
Right.
And, like, we had, like, one of the biggest arguments we probably ever had my junior year. But I always look forward to, like, what he had to say
Sure. It's
after each
important.
game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and my mom, she would just always be, she would always be there. Uh, she was like the one who always encouraged you.
Yep.
I got, like, when we have a big game, she would give me holy oil, put it on my forehead, rub it around. Like, she was always the nice one, and it's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
And my dad was always, like, critical, and I mean
So they,
he,
they
but he,
balanced each other.
yeah, 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 they
Yeah.
balanced, and but, like, he would always be in the stands, and you could hear him,
Yeah.
and, like, I knew where he was at all times. Uh, uh, RP to my grandmother and my grandfather. They came to all my games. They're now not here.
Right.
My grandma was a big fan of mine, man. She uh she would always cut out clips of me playing, and she worked in the cafeteria at Y High. Probably when you was there, Miss Barber.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah,
Like they're
she was a,
from the 70s, right? She was,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. Okay.
She was she was she's a big Y High fan, and she's another one, man. She had a big part of me playing basketball. If she was able to get there, she would always come to my games. Um, my family now, my wife, my daughters. Even though my daughters didn't get to see me play, they're a big part of who I am.
Sure.
Um, my wife, she was always there in the high school when I first. Matter of fact, she was a cheerleader.
Okay.
So I met her. She was a cheerleader. I was my sophomore year. So she been with me through the whole high school thing and the college thing. So she plays a big part in my life. My two brothers, uh, and a couple people, like, outside of this in the basketball world. You know, Coach Ray Morris was a good.
Hmm?
He was influential in my life. Coaching at the Salvation Army. Kabubi.
Okay.
I
Yep.
played for him at the Salvation Army, man. Kabubi. He used to pick us up, and he would always have a Snicker bar for me. I never forget. You know,
Isn't it
the
amazing
cap.
how many people like you start to think about, like I think about so many people. Isn't it amazing all these people who, touched your life, but think about, you now. Like how
Yeah,
many players and people, through the work at your school you're touching.
and that's the thing, man. Like people need to get their flowers beforehand. You know, while they're living.
Yeah.
So yeah, Coach Ray, Bruce Wharton, who's not with us no longer, but he was another one. He let me play in the Cap League when I wasn't old enough to play,
You were
and that
good enough to
helped me.
play.
I was good enough, but I wasn't old enough, and he just threw me on the team. He threw me on Coach Kabubi's team, and then he threw me out in the fire, and I learned from that. Coach Waller, he's another one. Um, it's many more, man, but it's just them come off the top of my head right now, made me who I am today. But it really goes to my roots and my family. We all, Y High
Yeah.
and my mom and dad, man, and it's my grandparents, my wife, my daughters. That's who I am today. And I like to say, like all my guys, play with them at Doverdale. I ain't gonna say everybody's name, but just
Right.
that growing up over there and
Sure.
playing basketball with them older guys, that kind of made me who I am today too. And that's it, man. And I want to say something to you, like Miss Butler and your father. Like
Yeah.
we knew when I played, you already knew where they were,
Yeah.
and then to see me coaching now, to see her still there, and I just want to tell you, and like Paul, I tell him all the time, like Miss Butler is amazing. She's she's the number one Y High fan.
Yeah, that she's been there. She and my dad started going in 1965, and
She,
they kept going even. So I joke sometimes because I say, they used to come to like your family. They should come to all of, our basketball games. Paul was a senior when I was a freshman, and I played varsity, but they used to come to all of our basketball games. And through the time where I was a senior, and they came to all the games. Then when I left, they kept coming to the game. So I was like, did they
yeah,
come to the games to see me, or they came to come to the game to see just Y High? And I think it's more Y High than me. But yeah,
yeah.
they were great fans, and my mom, that's what she lives for in the winter. She can't wait to see Y High.
She does, man. And just another side note, I follow her on Facebook, and she keeps me up with everything going on tennis, man.
Oh yeah, she's a sports fan. She loves anything sports. So, she and even my sister Monica. I mean, they're into Maryland's women's basketball player team. Quick shout out to Wise girls basketball who had a great year this year, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. They had a wonderful, and she was right there.
yeah,
She was
yeah,
right there, man. So I want to give her a shout out. And this been great, but yeah, Miss Butler, the whole Butler family has been great to me. So I really appreciate you having me on.
no,
I could talk. We could talk basketball for. We
yeah.
didn't really get into March Madness, but
Oh,
we might just.
I want to ask you real quick. Do you have any picks on the women's side and the men's side? Who do you?
I think it's gonna the women's side. I like Caitlin Clark. It's
Okay,
gonna be Iowa and South Carolina. I don't
okay.
know what side of bracket they on.
They're on
I love
opposite sides. Yeah,
I love Dawn Staley.
yeah,
I just love her swagger and the way she coached.
yeah.
The men's side, probably UConn.
Yeah, I mean they won it last year. I think it looks like for me it looks like they are a step above everybody else.
Yeah, and I think I got UConn winning it, and on one bracket I think I played two, and North Carolina on the other one.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I don't really watch a lot of NCAA basketball because it's like I'm doing a lot in high school.
Yeah.
at the time, I mean, I know who's good. I'm a big Merlin fan.
Right.
We struggled a little bit this year, but I think Willard's gonna get it right. And that's it, man. Like I think it's gonna be you. Hopefully, it's UConn and North Carolina, but I think they'll play in the semifinal.
Yeah. Well, I think you're spot on. I think probably UConn and between it'll come down on the women's side between Iowa and South Carolina. And I think that would be a great game. So we'll see what happens. But Doug,
Yeah, yeah,
it was great having you on. You have done a lot of great things. You will continue to do a lot of great things for the young people on the Eastern Shore, and you and I are family, High family. That's always throwing
yeah, yeah.
blood. And again, I appreciate you coming on, and thanks for coming on a conversation with Brian. And we will talk to you very soon.
All right, man. Thanks, man. I
All right.
appreciate you.
Thanks, Doug. Take it easy.
All right.
Subscribe to A Conversation with Brian on my YouTube channel and Spotify.